Hi. Hello. Hi. I just thought I'll come on randomly. This is typical me though. No one gets a warning. You just feel like talking about it. I have spoken about this. Hi. Hello. I have spoken about this a few times. And I made lives. I think I did, yeah. I put them up on my YouTube channel. But it is a big thing. And it's such a predominant thing in the West. So if you just watch how people, react when someone dies, or a friend of theirs loses someone and they're embarrassed and not sure what to say, or they avoid you, and we actually terrify. We just automatically assume we're going to wake up the next day. It's mind-blowing. So I thought I'd come on and see if anyone's got questions or wants to, about fear, the death, dying. It is a big fear. We don't talk about it. It's like a taboo subject. Nobody wants to talk about death, no, or like think about it. How many of us sit down and think about, us dying and how we're going to die, or even, just going through it in your mind because we fear it. Like, no. I mean, how many people have actually thought about their death or visualized it or wondered or any of these things? It's like we avoid it as though it's not going to happen. No, we just pretend it's not. But honestly, especially like loved ones, you go through these processes, people need to, and it's not like a big shock then. We don't even know how to handle, our family or loved ones who lose people. We don't know how to deal with it. We don't know what to say to them. It's very sad. Very, very sad. And when we don't live our life because we fear dying, or I don't know, whatever. I find this topic fascinating, and I find people like as well, because we don't contemplate it or we don't think, sometimes intuitionally you actually know how you're going to die. You intuitively know, or just like a gut, I'm probably going to, you get that little, and that's it, you probably do know, how you're going to. It's amazing, and people spend their life saving up for, I found this so amusing, their great retirement, and then they don't even make it. We just assume we're going to retire, or we assume, some people think they're going to die, some, who knows, everyone's got we've got this avoidance of death. It's very sad, and it's so unnecessary. It's so unnecessary. So I thought, I'll come on, see if anyone got any questions. If you want to ask about it, because honestly, it's like perfectly good. And I keep getting reminders, I'm still here. I'm like, wow, okay, that's good. I actually many times thought I wasn't going to be here. And especially with these energies. And I channeled this actually. I channeled about more than a year ago that many people will leave the planet because of energies or blocks. Hi. Yeah, the energy, well, the energy right now is like, oh, what you're doing is facing your illusions. So what I find is coming up is like your own illusions, your own fears, your own things that you're not willing to notice about yourself. Like illusions, say you got illusions on the outside, on the inside, whatever. Whatever you have an illusion about, which is we're in an illusion. This is an illusion, that you are a human, a separate being anyway. So it's illusions. But it's also up to us to ask, you see. So it's clearing out illusions, fears. So it really also depends on what you ask, you see. What you ask will need to be cleared. So whatever you're having a battle with, maybe your fear is moving forward or change, or you can ask them to help clear that. So if you've got a fear of moving forward, you're going to, because at the moment, forward and change is a huge thing on the planet. We can't avoid it. So we can ask them to help clear, release all fear of change, of moving forward, which is, we're only in fear, we're in the mind. It's the ego, you see. The only thing that fears is the ego. When we're still focusing on that I am a person and there's a separate being and I'm not source. We're not in the present, and we're not just the pure awareness. That's just, so yeah, the energies are, so I'm saying my heart has been giving me a little bit of a, every now and then I've had a few little hiccups and I was like, oh shit. Rerun, are we going to go now? Is this one going to be for good? And so, because of these energies coming in, and my, funny enough, this journey, this life of mine in this body, so say this dream, this illusion, right? This carnation, not really, but anyway, in this human body, as me, as this being now, was about love. It was all around love and about the heart. But also, I jumped the gun a bit, because I was the one, you waiting for that. You knew it was something to do with that, and you lived your life revolved around that. But you then were still looking externally, So it's all projection. It was all exterior. So it was really, really interesting. Yeah. So it was about that. So it was really around it was a lot to do with that love, in all aspects, and just human relationships, love. Forgiveness, all kinds of shit. Anyway, it was mainly around the heart. So that took a big whack in this in this life. Wow, did it only take a whack? It took a big whack. It was interesting. And then they did some surveys actually linking. They said, this is actually one of the reasons it causes. Anyway, so this is what I kind of knew that this is what actually gave in, and was the reason I left the planet, was my heart, which made a lot of sense actually. Because everything around this life was about love, around the heart, and the poor thing had taken so much trauma and strain anyway, and all kinds of things. The poor, you didn't realize the abuse you did to the body, the fear. My energies were so out of whack. So this is so anyway, with the energies coming in, you can do your healing. Whatever. But if my life, I had set the purpose, and the whole journey was around this and the heart, so it makes perfect sense. So, if that was a thing, and that still is, so if I'm going to leave the planet, we're all going to leave the planet, funny enough, you kind of know, you can change it. Say, I always knew it was going to be in my bed anyway. I was going to go in my bed, I was going to go, there we are. I always knew I wasn't going to go in some other funny way. We've all been through them all, though. We experienced all these ways. So I can't talk for everybody else how you've agreed in this lifetime to lead. Early, late is always a reason. It is always profound, our death, and why, and the timing of it, and whatever. Anyway, I did agree to come back and help, so I'm here. But I don't know for how long I'm here for. So, with the energies going on, like I've told people, and many people will leave if the body, because we can't match the frequency, or there's blocks, or, it is intense. Or your soul decides, for whatever, we all know it's other purpose. It needs you to come back in another younger body, more useful to continue, because in this life, whatever your plan is, you can maybe reach the roof, because now your soul wants to achieve whatever else and play something out, right? But your physical body is now not at that age where it can maybe carry on, or be, how much further can you go? Let's say when you've got an older body, and your soul might have other plans, so it might think, okay, well, you've reached the maximum now, so it'll be more productive. So that's what I'm saying. This is how it works, really. So we're all going to go. There's nothing to fear. So mine has been a bit like, I've had a few, wobbles every now and then. Just like, not all at once. Say one day I had this, and the next day it was like, whoa, I could feel, and I had a little bit of little things, just iffies here and there, and I'm like, But it's a good thing. Because it reminds me that I'm not eternal. It brings me back to, you just think, la, 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 I'm going to be here, and this is us, we're living in the future, and I'm going to be, and I'm planning for that, and then, and whenever. And not all of us want to live to a really ripe old age. I don't envy these old people that have got old in mind and body, that are not connected in their mind, go into whatever, they shut down. For them, because they're frightened of death, so maybe you'll go into Alzheimer's or dementia, so they'll slowly leave, they'll exit them. It's like the way of pulling away from life. I don't envy that. I was like, no, I don't want to get, I don't think that's a blessing to walk around, and I've seen it so many times waiting to die. So I'd rather, go out with a bit of a, when I'm, that for me was always better. I mean, what do you people, because they're frightened of dying. Why do you need to hang on to 90, 100 something, and you're like really, you're really struggling? Why? That's not a pleasant, trust me, I know, and I've seen people, I've been with them through that journey. It's a terrible, slow, and they're basically not living. They're existing, that's it. There's nothing nice about existing. So life is good when we live it and when we cherish it and we make the most of it. And when you get out there, hee-haw, take it by the horns. And I did that, trust me, people. You can't say I did. I have lived. Ooh, did I live? And this is why, the poor body is taken a knocking. And the energies are high and intense, like I said. That's why I say people will start going for all kinds of reasons on the planet. Their body sometimes maybe can't handle the energies. Exactly, it's nothing to be frightened of. It's so awesome, I promise you. I've explained what happens when you die as well, so you can go look at that. It's nothing. Oh, you're welcome. I was just, here we are. You see, I was guided. I just thought, oh, just come on and talk about this. It's not frightening. It was a bit, I'm going to go through the story like for the 100th time quickly. It was a little bit when my heart, when the heart stopped or gave in, heart attack, heart failure, whatever happened or whatever, the thing just, started going funny and missing a beat, and then, anyway, then I got sharp pain, and that was it. Anyway, so I didn't realize I died, because when you wake up again, you come back, it's like time didn't miss, you jump timelines. So, you think you should, anyway, it's a long story. But it was only, that's what I'm saying. The only thing we fear is the pain part. So when it got to it was getting very painful, then I called out, because I was already awakened. I'd been awake now for a year, not that long actually, but I was. So I remember calling out to Archangel Michael. I called out to the angels and I said, listen, please, just, I got a bit scared for the pain. I said, okay, because I knew they told me I was going to go. So I was expecting it. And I was lying there and they said it, and I just got this, okay, it's time to go. And that knowing, it's a knowing. And I was not one bit worried. It was like, oh, okay, wow, is it over? Well, okay, right, the game's over. And I was, okay, cool, no problem. And I was lying there happily waiting. But then when the pain came, I was like, no, just... That's the part I was like, okay, no, can you just help me out here? Just can we just not maybe do the pain part? And it was quick. I remember within 2 seconds, whatever happened, I don't know, and then it was... The part when you leave the body is strange. It's only for 2 seconds where it's pitch dark. That's when I got scared. I was like, hey guys, we're hello. It's for I think it's as the what they call life force, which is you, energy leaves the body, the chi. Because if you've been with someone on the other side, when they die, with their last breath is very unpleasant. It's like, this rasping sound when they, and anyway, you pop out. So, and when you now going yourself leaving the body, what came back to me more and more as time went on, I remembered what happened, or thought, it was like you were going like a whirlpool tornado, like a vortex, like it's you go into this dark tunnel. It looks like you're being like sucked like into a dark wormhole thing, and then boing, the next minute, there we are. Next minute, I'm looking at my body. That's it. Yeah, well, it depends on your belief. You see, you go where you believe. This is going to sound strange, Christina. If you go listen to many past life, or let's say near death, go listen to so many. They're so different. Wow, very different, depending on the religion. And I know a man that filmed so many people because he wanted to know. And everyone had a different experience. Why? It's because of your frequency and your beliefs. So I've been up the tunnel of light. I did go and have a look at it. It's like remember, but there's no physical body when you leave. So people that believe and expecting to go to heaven, there is a place, there's a realm where you can go, where it's holographic, just like this. You're aware it's a holographic when you're there. But why would you want to go to something that I always found, I just thought that was very strange. So I did a tour through it, and I thought it was really not my cup of tea. I'd rather go back to source, go back to the creator, go back to being one with source. Because going there, it's like a fake make-believe earth, because you've got this, it was really strange. It was like you've got parks and rivers, and you've got houses. It's like, everything's la 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 little. It's like these lovely lights, and you can get yourself. But it was empty. I was like, wow, this is really very quiet. Tons of people stuck in there waiting. It was like, so I don't know. So maybe the people that don't know what to do are not sure. You see all these different. It looks like realms or layers, right? I can't explain it. That's what I'm saying. How do you explain to people? You've got different realms or different, say, must be frequencies in. But all I saw, it was really strange. It was like this this like sandwich layer, and there was all these souls just standing there like this, waiting. And I was like, what the hell are they waiting for? So I shoot past them up the tunnel, and then I came into what you would say, what the people have described as heaven. And I was like, nah, yeah, it's all nice, but what the hell do I want to be in another place? I can have like a fake, I can have a home, I can do this and play all, nah, I was like, okay, no. And I was a bit more like, wonder what the hell these people were doing down there. So I think what they were doing is waiting, because they can't connect. You've got to do your phase. You've got to be a matching frequency, because you cannot live, that's what I'm saying. So people will leave the planet. If your frequency or your physical body or whatever it is can't handle the energy, there's blocks, there's whatever else, because it's big, even the brain and heart. These are high energies coming in. I mean, I feel it, and I'm very energy sensitive. I can feel it in my brain, and I'm physically, sometimes I'm like, oh, wow. But also remember, because I have a huge amount of, you've stored in this body, this physical vessel, didn't know any better. It held on to so much shit, every bit of emotion, trauma, this, that. There's a lot. So when it comes to healing and clearing, wow, have I got a closet. And then they cash it. So mine was like, wow, full. So when you've got a lot of this energy that's been stuck and held in the body and in the chakras, wow, it's a lot of work. So when this energy comes in and it's very high and it's clearing, people that aren't clearing or can't move it, this is what I'm saying. That's why there's a lot of heart attacks on the planet, and people are assuming they're for one thing. No, not necessarily. Not. Because I haven't taken any medical procedures. I don't do those sort of things. And mine was, but it's also linked. They've proven it. Linked heartbreak is linked to heart attacks, not joke, heart failure. They linked it. I was like, well, that's me out of the going, and I did. And other things, side effects, medicine. I mean, there's so many. You know what I mean? Oh, you're welcome. So it's a belief, because what I also discovered after I'd seen all this and looking into it, the Tibetan, you can go listen to the version of it. Is it called the Tibetan Book of the Dead? Someone's done an audio recording on. You can go and find it on YouTube. And what they've done is how the Tibetans guide people. This is what was passed down to us centuries. We forgot, from Atlantis, Lemuria, then Egypt. They did it all over the walls on the pyramids, right? Is guiding people through the afterlife, because they knew you were eternal. So it's how to guide yourself. But it was all kept secret, and the seams or esoteric schools and things like that. So we lost that. And then the church was very threatened by, that whole thing. So they're like, gone. So we forgot this knowledge. But this is what the Buddhas hung on to. And what they do is guide someone. So if the person is, say, not reached enlightenment or whatever else, and they've worked through, because what happens, what people don't realize, when you wake up, right, like we do, we have a spiritual awakening, and you hit what they call the astral. It is these beings, what you think are entities, are your fears. It represents jealousy, anger, hate, this and that. It represents as layers, as say a lower being. So if you haven't reached certain whatever, you're going to come. So this is what you're seeing, and it looks like a monster, or it looks like a this and whatever. Now the Buddhas understand that, because they work their way up right through the highest realms. So when someone, a young, say, Buddha or young person, or that hasn't really reached that part, or hasn't worked through, faced their own, overcome their own ego, let's put it this is the shadow self, the ego self, done away with the anger, with attachment, with jealousy, lust, this is what they had to face. So this is what they were teaching, these esoteric schools of the Buddhas. So it's very interesting. If you go listen to the Tibetan Book of the Dead, you can write it, or you can listen to the audio version. It's very interesting, and how they talk people when they die, because they don't leave their body. They hang around for a bit. So what they do is guide the person through to, tunnel of light or wherever, where you want to go back, right? They want to reach the Buddha land, or whatever it's called. Yeah. They want to reach the Buddha land, or whatever it is. There's different realms, right? But you can only go where your frequency is. So everything's a frequency match, if you're in the physical or not. So depending on your frequency, this is the whole idea of what they want to call enlightenment, is being quiet in the mind. When you stay present and in the mind, and you let go of all hate, fear, this, that, and you can stay in that sense of nothingness, slowly your frequency, anyway, what that does is a light comes in and it burns, it purifies, it starts dissolving all that shit in you. That's what the awakening you go through. You go through all these clearings and purgings and healings. That's what happens. it starts dropping all that shit. So when you die, or most of that, you worked through it. You've dropped your fears, you've dropped your illusions, so your frequency is higher, yes, and you can go to higher realms or whatever. The whole idea they try to do is avoid, this whole karmic cycle of having to be reborn. They'd rather be guides or, masters and stay there and not having to come back. So this is what they do. And then when you listen to these things, you'll realize, hang on a second, there's no one place you go, you see. There's people that'll tell you they got judged and they did this and that. Yeah, because that's what they believed. They really believed that. You got people that said they died and it was just all nothingness. It was all everything. They were just all knowing, they were with source. They didn't have any expectations. There's some that didn't. There's some that went up got to the tunnel light and returned back. That is the light. That is these, that is. Some are frightened because they believe when they were told, they're going to be punished, and they're not. So they're too scared to go to the light because they're scared of being judged, or they're scared they won't be accepted, kind of thing, because they were told. See, so there's many. It depends on the person's experiences, really. It is really interesting because these things do exist. Whatever this city of lights, crystal city, heaven, whatever you want to call it, does exist. It's really interesting, actually. I was like, nah, I don't want to go there. I go straight back. I'd rather go straight back to source. You want to go back to being one with all that is. But that depends, you see. It depends on you, what you've seen, what you believe, your how much resistance, fear. We're going to try and work through. We drop the shell, that stays behind. When you leave the body, all this other shit that stays with the body, you lose that density. And then you'll slowly raise. But your consciousness, you're only energy and consciousness. So this is what I say. It's such an important thing because people, what we do when people are dying is another thing. Death, that's what I say. This death and dying makes it so much more difficult, the Western version. Because we don't talk about it, because we fear it, because we don't help, we don't explain nothing. And what happens is everybody in the West is shit scared. And it's what they do when they find out you're sick, your parents or husband or a loved one is now sick or going to die. Oh my gosh, what do? That's the ego, all about me. The ego goes into panic, fear, I'm going to be alone, I'm going to be sad, I'm going to miss you, I'm going to, you see. And we project all our loss, and the person who's dying then is completely forgotten. It's like, they're like, oh, okay, now I'm going to try and hang on, don't take this pill and live longer, and they don't want, it's their fear. We don't just be... And let that person, what I find so sad is that person can't die in peace. They can't even explain, listen, maybe I'm tired, I want to go. Oh, no, we don't want to lose you. So I found, and I've been through this with a few people that have died, or been through that process. And they couldn't talk to their loved ones or their children because they didn't want to tell the children, I don't want to take this shit anymore. I want to go, I'm tired. Because the children didn't want to, oh no, we can't. So the poor person who's dying is completely, again, having to take on everyone else's projection and fear and sadness and their loss, and we burden all this energy onto the poor dying person. Well, instead of letting it be happy and joyful, and there's so many other people I've seen that do it so nicely. There's no big shit. There's no big drama, and oh my gosh, our movies and everything is like wear black and mourn and carry on, and this is the same thing, attachment. What does it teach you? Everybody then has taken on a lot of dark energy and we hold on to it. Oh my. We don't just float, we don't attach. Let the energy it's just sadness, there we are. So we're burdening ourselves with dark dense energy, lowering our frequency. I mean, pick it up when you come back, by the way. And then this poor person who's dying. Instead of trying to make it easier for them, lighten and teach them and tell them and lay their fears, we could handle it and everyone would be bloody happy. They die peacefully and like, oh, this is cool, I'm not right. And they don't have to worry, oh, no, you're going to leave me, what's going to happen to me? Oh my. Really, really, oh wow. I just think it's so wrong. The West has so cocked it up. Everybody doesn't like it, everybody fears it, no one is happy, no one knows what to do. Wow, it's a complete cock-up, put it that way. Yeah, it's just humans. Attachment, the same thing. That's what I'm saying. I mean, they've got it so down pat. in the East, teaching us to stay in the present, just be, not attach. Because when we stay in that state of being, and the mind is, we can shut the mind up and train it like that, you're in a state of just complete bliss, acceptance, relaxing, and now you take no energy in. You don't attach to anything. You don't get upset. You are just in love. You're in a constant state of love and acceptance. It's amazing. I freaking love it. I'm working myself back there again. I'm like, okay, no. I sort of got back into the mind again, and the whole no. So now I'm doing my meditations every day, and I'm sitting in that light of emptiness again. I'm like, no, training the mind to shh. Because when you like that, your energy and frequency becomes so high that you're not impacted by other people's energy and frequency, because yours is strong and dominant in that frequency. It overrides theirs, like the Buddha, like the Dalai Lama, and you're in a constant state of happiness, and you see everything so differently. You don't hang on to any nonsense. You understand that it's that acceptance. It's acceptance, yeah, peace. It's so nice. So, yeah, we have to rechange this, because I have had friends that have, it's so shit. So many people. No, that's their projection. Don't worry about it. People won't, because as I'm saying, we'll all change. We got to teach people. It's so sad. And they're absolutely frightened of dying, because they don't know. Instead of us people exactly like this, going to those like old age homes or places like that, or old people, and explaining to them what it's like. I remember I did about 2 days ago. No, not this Sunday, the Sunday before. There's a church close by, but not a old church. The energies are, wow, some of those churches are like, the energy is so heavy and dense, I won't put my toe anywhere near these places. But there's one of these Baptist churches that was quite close to me. And they're quite sweet people, so I just thought, I'm going to go along. Shocker. I go out there, sweet, just check out, meet some people, who knows, in my neighbors or whatever. And there was an old lady there. Funny enough, I wonder if it wasn't her husband, actually, I don't know. Anyway, there was an old lady there. And somehow she came over and went, hello, because then now you knew there, and you knew face, and people want to know who you are, you see. So sweet. I don't have, I'm saying, we got to live in peace. We respect everybody's beliefs no matter what. It doesn't make a difference. Yeah, and this little lady came over to me. I was sitting next to a woman close to my age, in her 50s. And then a little lady came over. Hi, I'm so-and-so, sweet. They're lonely people. They live here, who knows, around here. So you want to meet her? I've got a lot of time for them. And I'm keen to help, people that need help on their own here. So she came over, and somehow somebody asked me, I don't know how we got on the bloody subject, and I was telling her what it was like. Oh, did you? Can you tell me, what is it like? And they start asking questions then. And they want to know what it was like dying, and I explained to her, and she was so, she could see, because they know it. And when I explained how it felt like, and I explained, because obviously she worried, and she, it's not far off for her, for them, it's not far off for them. So now they want to face it, because they know it's soon, you see. Everybody else is trying to run away from it, but they know they're going soon. And I explained to her that only for 2 seconds it's going to be dark. Don't worry, it's very quick. And then it's poof, you're out. And she was so relieved and so happy. Oh no, and I'm not frightened. Now I'm not looking, And it may, for the first, and it actually, that's what I'm saying. Now this lady was not frightened. She said, oh wow, that's so fantastic. Thank you so much, because now I'm not frightened, and now I have peace. And now she's actually like, you can see it was like a weight off her shoulders, knowing that actually it's fine when you die. You got nothing to fear. You see? And there we are. And I just thought, well, there we are. There's a reason, obviously, I was meant to go to church. Now there's somebody, when she leaves, is going to leave with peace and looking forward to this. She's going to be like, because now she knows she's got something to look forward to. She's going to pop out the other side. Oh, okay. You could do this and that. And I explained to her. You see? People are so, and this is one of the hugest things, because everything, if you're born, you're going to die. That's it. Everybody has to go through it, but nobody ever faces it or talks about it, or we try and, And this is how we hang on to so much energy. Think about it. It's the biggest grief. Most people have got to hang on massive grief. They hang on to grief and sadness and loss, and all this is around death, losing a loved one, losing a parent, losing this. Why? Because Nobody does it properly. And we could avoid all of that. And there wouldn't be, because we know that we lost our loved one. And you'd be sitting in the room saying, okay, hey, I know you're there. Have a blast. Don't worry, I'm good. And you can talk to them. Like I say to them, they hear you. Think about it. If you know your loved one now, yeah, there's nothing. It's freaking awesome. Actually, I loved it. It was like, whoa, this is cool. I think you remember, I was like, yippee, I'm free. And you feel so free because you're so much lighter. You're not restricted by a body. That's it. You're completely free. You can go wherever you want. Go and play. Absolutely. It's amazing. So, but it is, I just think, we could do so much better than we do. Well, honestly, people need to chill. I love it. You can't hear me. I don't know. Maybe I need to talk louder. I'm not sure. Oh, it is freaking awesome. But we need to. We need to stop also. We need to let them die in peace without making them upset and fear. And that energy, when all that is upset and fear around our loved ones, it's like, wow. Yeah, and then people stick them in homes, and hospitals, the worst place. Who the hell wants to die in a hospital or home? You can't visit them at a certain time, and they're not with their loved ones, and it's not their own. Oh, good Lord, what? All our grandparents died at home. This became a money thing. Nobody dies at home anymore. Oh, you got to go to hospital. I got to go to. Who wants to die in a hospital? Sterile, cold place where your family can't visit you. They're told what certain times they can come. People dump them in old age homes and they can't see, they're lonely, they're frightened. Put them in hospitals. That's not a place to die. We got to stop doing this. Stop putting people in hospitals. They don't need to go to hospital to die. You can die in your own bed. You're going to die, you're going to die. End of story. Yeah, it's horrendous. You can give them medicines and painkillers and shit at home as well, quite happily. They don't need hospitals. That's about money. And it's about when they can, and you're like a child. You can't do this, and you're told when you can. Someone else is telling you when you could do what, and your family can visit you. It's horrendous. And homes. People learned a big lesson now by dumping parents in old age homes in this pandemic. They couldn't go and visit them, and then they died, they were not fed properly, and all kinds of terrible scandals came out. And, terrible. And no, it's this throwaway society. In the old days, your grandparents stayed. We had a bigger home, and the grandparents looked after the kids. Now, no, the kids, we want our own house, and I want a BMW, and I'm going to pay a fortune to my children to go to preschool. So you are forking out so much money to stick your children in a little preschool or play school so you can work. Then you're paying to have grandparents stuck in an old age home. So these grandparents, first of all, wouldn't get Alzheimer's and dementia if they were happy and they had grandchildren to interact with and keep them busy. They would stay physically fit. The grandparents should be at home, playing with the children, bringing them up. It keeps them young, keeps their mind okay. Everybody benefits. It keeps the family unit together. You are not paying a fortune on preschool and all this kind of nonsense. People stop sticking their family and their parents in old age homes. It's disgusting. It's a throwaway. I don't want my parents living with me. I want a nice home and I want my car and I want this. We're so taught this is a normal way to be. It's not. It's dysfunctional. The children don't know their grandparents. The grandparents get lonely. So many of them sit alone. They see their kids maybe once a month, once a week. They get Alzheimer's and dementia. Why? When they should be playing with their grandchildren. And you shouldn't be forking out a fortune, putting them in a bloody home. So yeah, we've got to change this old and this. The Africans do it. Clever. They think you're insane to do this. There's so many cultures where it's just, we've been taught, no. Why? Because everybody benefits. Old age home benefits, hospitals benefit, medicine benefits, but who doesn't? The children don't, the family doesn't, the souls, the people, the relationship, the love, the bond, you would have half the amount of dementia if the old people were kept busy, working at home and, children and laundry. They wouldn't get old. There's only a few countries that are backwards that have this problem. It's really, really bad. So yeah, we gotta look at it. We gotta change things, and change is something we're going to go through now. But this is a big thing that needs to change on the planet. No dying in hospitals. No dumping parents and homes. The family, the unit, because they have wisdom also to teach them. Fix this broken family structure we've done. Dysfunctional families, broken families, and this old, and pubs and alcohol, and we need to, but we're getting there. This is the rising unconsciousness and going back to being present. Then the ego is not in power, and there's the mind, the ego, the I, the separation story. We will come back to unity and community as we raise in consciousness. Absolutely, it's all going to go back to unity and community, and not this. You don't see yourself as separate because you know you're not separate. Everything you see is source. So as Jesus was saying, I'm God. It's why he says it. People didn't get it. Everything. I'm God, you're God. Everything you see is part of God. So if you understand, if you treat me, you're treating, same thing. If I'm treating you, it's me. So we gotta fix it. We gotta stop. We gotta stop fearing it, and we gotta stop letting people go, because they're not really gone. If we didn't, I know physically they won't be around. So this thing, don't die, I don't want to lose you, because we're terrified of losing our family, our parents, because we're going to be alone, right? But there's another thing. If you're gone within, and you're not ever alone. Yes, you can be. This is lonely or alone. This is a different thing. People get, to be alone is a difficult thing. People get lonely, but it's not. You see, because they're not dead actually. And when you raise your consciousness and you're able to communicate with them, you won't worry them, because they're not dead, and you can chat to your family. But because you're at a lower consciousness, you don't see them, you don't communicate with them, you don't realize, you don't even know what happens after you die. It's so frightening. It's all just dark, and that's it, they're just gone. Oh my gosh, they're gone. And that's what I'm saying. It's like, it's relationships, people. It's your money, your car, your job. None of that shit matters. It's people, it's beings, it's experience. That's what really counts. Because when they're gone, and all that's left is a chair, and a table, and a photo album, and a book, and it's shit. It's actually just shit. And they're gone, and you're stuck with the shit. Okay, there's a couch, but that was their couch, and this is their pot, and this is their. But it means nothing because they're not there. It's just stuff that belonged to them. And you realize it's absolutely, to you, worthless shit. It really is. It's shit. Well, it means absolutely nothing. Because when they're gone, that's it, they're gone. You don't want their shit. Their shit doesn't bring them back. It's not them. It's just furniture. It's just stuff. So really, yeah, I know. Yeah. And then, of course, I should have spent more time with them. All these things, that's what I'm saying. We need to fix the unit, first of all. We need to stop fearing death, because this is why, why it also became a fear? Because they were taken away to die in hospital. We never saw death. We never faced death. This was a big mistake after 100 years ago when they started doing that, going to hospital to die. This became, a money-making gimmick, actually. Everybody died at home otherwise. They'd come around there, the doctor, and pop in, whatever, there's someone, a nurse, and they were there, or midwife, whatever. That's how it worked. No, you don't have house doctors anymore. This became a business. Corporations took over. Big problem. Because people then had a relationship with death. Why? Because they lived in a home, grandparents and mother, and exactly looking after the kids. Granny stayed with the family, and they died. So the kids knew it, or they lived down the road. So the kids knew, Granny's dying, okay, we're going to go and say goodbye. You saw death. You experienced death. It wasn't alien in a hospital over there. You see, people, don't go there because they're dying. Don't bring the children. This is nonsense. Projections or fear. So no one ever faces death, thinks about death, because it's done there. They go in hospital, they die behind closed doors. We don't see, we don't. Everybody was used to it. They were dying. It's a process, so you didn't fear it. They got old. Okay, Granny's getting sick. Okay, she's in bed. She's got a few days. There we are. Kids say goodbye. It was life and death. Yeah, it's so different. I lived on an island. Very different. And they had no problem with death. It's like, hey, no problem. And everyone was back the next day like as though nothing happened, And they celebrated. They have a big funeral, everyone goes, and they invited me. Even I didn't know the person from Bar of Soap, but the whole village, everybody's invited to the funeral. Big food, big thing, and they celebrate them and they bury them. Gone, there we are, and everyone goes back. You know, think about 3 days mourning, not even a mourning. They don't really mourn. It's not part of their culture. They have like a, I can't say a wake thing. But there's no like, you know, big, oh my gosh. At the funeral, it's funny. They make the most of it. It seems to be like everybody can cry at the funeral. So it's like you get it out at the funeral, and then it's gone. And then it's music and they have food and it's all over. It's so different from the West because, oh no, I can't go, I don't know them. Oh no, funerals are, you know, this is how it's just quiet and it was, oh, you don't. It is so backward. So low consciousness and dark. Everything's dark about the way we do things. The funeral, the clothes we wear is all black. Oh my gosh. You see? Terrible. Terrible. Completely wrong. And what was dark about? Nothing was dark about their life. Their life was a light. It was a spark. It should be flowers and joy and bright, you know? We should celebrate that spark, that person, that life, that light they brought to life. To your lives. Like the Irish wake story. It's crazy. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. There we are. You're so right. Yes. Very right, isn't it? Exactly. You all contribute. Everyone, and there's massive food. Wow, big time. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's it. I know. It's so cool. Because you can work that and think about that. If you're dancing, they do that dance afterwards and that sort of thing, or something even shamanic, it's actually working the energy out of the body better than, oh, and at church, be quiet, we sit there, and everyone's got to hold it in and try and not cry and wear black and be quiet. I mean, it is horrendous, the Western. Avoid it. That's why most people don't want to. They're like, I'm not going to, I don't want a church, I don't want a ceremony, I'm not surprised. I mean, it's horrendous. Who wants to be remembered like that? Good grief, no thank you. Bloody heck. That's nothing to do with the person. It's just tradition. We've just taken on exactly the same thing as this is it. It's bullshit. It's someone else's bullshit we took on. Oh, this is how you do things, and this is how a funeral should be, and you must wear black. What bullshit? And where does it come from? Whose rules? Yeah, I know. We honestly need to shake it up a bit. Yeah. Honestly, you know, no, we got to change the way we do things, yeah. Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. No, it's just, well, I said to my kids, don't you dare. You know, not doing that. I know, it's so, oh, come on, people, man. That person's life was more than a black dress and a miserable church and a, oh, be quiet and don't, you know. And I mean, they don't deserve to be shoved in any old age homes or and die in hospital alone and nonsense like that. The machines and sanitary, and it's like people that don't even know them. It's crazy. So yeah, nothing to fear. It's all good. And we must start living, because you think you're going to be here. You don't know people. A lot of people are also, well, as I say, exiting the planet, and will be exiting the planet in this time, because that's normal. We're going through a big shift. I don't know, darling. Why would you even ask me that question? I don't know him. I can't tell you. And that's up to his soul. You should be asking him and yourself. Ask and know it and trust it. If it's meant, it will be given. There we are. Don't ask anybody else, because they're not going to the power. He's got the power to manifest it. Ask. So I need this. Know it's going to come, and just worry about it. Put it out there. It's going to happen. I'm going to get it. It's his soul. He's going to do it. He has the power. Absolutely. Faith, trust, and just like it's done. Your request is answered already. There we are. Pretty much. It is. So yeah, live, people. All right. It's like even me, you know. I'm released, I've been through it already, so I'm not worried. And if I'm here now for who knows how long, or a day, or it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? There we are. I've already seen, you know, future lives. Freaking cool. They're all going on now anyway. This is the funny part. This is what I'm saying. If you understand there's no such thing as a future, there's parallel lives, parallel universes. They're all happening now anyway. So you can see where you're going to go. It's like, oh, okay, there's many different ones. But you can ask, and then you can kind of know which timeline you're on, because they're showing you which parallel your future lives, right? So if you stay on this timeline, that's your future life. I'm like, yeah, okay, I'm very keen on that one. Yeah. So, yeah, no, we need to do that. But they damaged the family when they got women's lib came along, trying to get two people working, money, two consumers too, and that's when the problem came in. Yeah. Family was it was like not put on the back seat to career and money and achievement, and it was all about stuff though. That's the problem. And I'm so glad that's falling away. I'm like, phew, do we need that one? It's about living, because when you know what it's about, you come here to experience. And we're not experiencing anything because we're in the mind half the time, but we come here to experience, just to be in the moment, that feeling of joy, the looking at the tree, the laughter, the love. When you're in the present moment, you experience it to the full. And I had no idea. I'd spent 50-something years of my life living, which you thought, but not really. I never really experienced something, because when you're actually in the absolute presence, you're completely, fully present. You experience that you fully experience that. You fully take it in. So amazing. And you're like, wow. Yeah, and that's actually what you came here for. It's how do I explain it? It's the energy that you generate, your emotions. So it's what you decide to attach to. Like, oh, that thought, that feeling creates energy, emotions. That's it, because that's all there is in it. That's exactly. Because everything, as Bashar says, is neutral. You assign a meaning to it. Oh, that's good. Oh, that's bad. Oh, that's, you see. That's really, you accumulate energy. Which forms, that's emotions, energy here. But really, that's what we hear. And we don't really experience it. I was like, wow, when you start really being present, then you really start absorbing, feeling life, really. Yeah, there we are. That's what they actually are for. Yes. Well, no, we went along with it. I can't say they wanted to. We went along with it as an experience as well. Because remember, there was a very male-dominant planet. Women didn't vote. Women didn't work. Oh, no, you didn't. You were kind of told, this is a woman. No, this is part of the equality of this, going back to raising in consciousness that there is no dominance. There's men and women are equal. All souls are equal, actually, because you play both sexes. You just don't change sex. When you carnate, you don't play one life male, one life female, because the transition is difficult. So if you've played so this is, maybe you'll play, say, 1,000 years of one sex. So maybe there's let's just say 5 carnations or an epoch. Say a couple of them. Say 5 to 10 carnations will be male, and then you'll switch to a female. Because when you switch again, it's difficult. You'll see a lot of souls. They're if you've been playing a female, and then all of a sudden you drop in, now you're in a male body, but you've had a lot of female past lives and the feelings and emotions. So you're going to find it difficult to adapt to being the other sex, really. But you've played them all. This is what people don't realize. So this is why there is absolutely equality, because your soul plays everything. Human, non-humans, male, female, whatever. Because you are source, part of it, everything. Planets, whatever. You feel it all, you know it all. Anyway, so yes, we need to evaluate where people die. So we're not taking them away. So people then get a chance to experience, because you're all going to go through it, what it's like dying, seeing them, leaving the planet, and, saying goodbye to granny or whatever, and grandpa, and sticking them in old age homes and not talking about it and making it all depressing and dark, and don't talk and mourn and wear, you've got to wear black and you've got to be this and you've got to be someone else's nonsense. You know, we don't ever think, what do you actually want? It's crazy. Yeah, and look into it. As I say, you'll see there's no one experience, because depending on their belief systems, they're very different near-death experiences, whatever. You listen. So go listen to someone who's awake, who's not, who's a Buddhist, who's a Christian, who's a heavy religious person, and they have very different, experiences, or near-death ones, because that's what they expected. And it's the same with astral. But what you see as well, as I say, people don't realize we need to work. The more you can work through these things now, your whatever attachments you have, your hook that your ego catches you on, do your fears, get rid of those things. The least you will have to face afterwards as well. You see, your fear, you don't have that fear. Drop the fear. Yeah, and it just manifests in different things, and they describe it well in the book of the Book of the Dead, Tibetan, that describes it very well. So when people also astral now, they understand how it shows itself to you. Very useful. Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? It is such an art. This expansion is so amazing. Wow. Wow. You go through these bursts. So now I'm going through one quiet. I've been doing big purge, big releases. So I've just done a big one recently again. And now I'm in the rest phase. Rest and rejuvenate phase. Which is nice. And you'll start picking up again. But we've got another one. Tomorrow we've got the eclipse now. So let's see. I've asked as well, I just find you guided to ask for different clearings. Like you asked now, you're guided to ask for anything that's stopping you from moving forward. I'm guided to clear fears, illusions, all fears and illusions that I'm not aware of. Sometimes you've got an illusions. You believe false beliefs or, whatever. Who knows? There we are. All kinds of things. So you just... different things I'm guided to ask to, drop or clear now. You will just do it. You'll just do it. You don't know why. You'll just start meditating and you'll be like, oh, let me just clear this, or let me just, who knows. Trust it. Don't question anything. Just go with whatever comes to your mind or whatever you feel like, and you'll see. Or do some reflecting and like, okay, I can't make up my mind, It's like me. And I'm living so in the present, I'm not worried about tomorrow. But I know, I suppose I'll get the way, but I have, First of all, I didn't expect to be here, so I'm still like, wow, okay, I'm still here. This is cool. And every now and then, like, so yeah, literally, it keeps me which is a useful thing. It's very much keeping me in the present, because I'm like, okay, well, it's really pointless planning because you don't know. You think you're going to be here a long time. Who the hell knows if you're going to be here a long time? I don't know. I'm still bloody surprised I'm here. Your soul, your higher self, makes the decisions before you are carnated. You're not going to make wise decisions now in a body anyway, because you're in a lower consciousness. That's the ego. So it's not a good place to make decisions when you're in. Yeah, lots of clearing going on. It's lovely. A lot of it, but yeah, you get tired sometimes. I'm like, physically. Especially when you've had on, you don't realize how much shit. You don't realize that experiences, just any experiences that you've been through, and if you reacted to it, which we all did, oh my gosh, I'm upset, I'm happy, I'm sad, whatever, that stays in there. That reaction, you've hung on now, you've identified with that energy, and that's it. You don't realize all those times you got upset and things is in your body. Well, that's what I'm saying. So you understand why I said a lot of people leave the planet? Because you have so much shit in your body, it can't manage, and it'll be tiring. It can't manage the energies, the frequencies, or the light. See, sometimes. So it is easier to exit and come back in a body that's already adjusted to the new frequencies and vibrations. You see, you don't have to go up. This is why I said a lot of people will leave. It's frequency. It's like food, because the frequency is rising. Everything is rising. So this is why your diet changes, because it's not food. Some of the food is not a matching frequency. It's a lower frequency. So this is why when your diet shifts so much when you go through the awakening experience. You can't eat this, you can't eat that, you can't eat this. Big time. Because why? It's got a lower frequency. Your body will not digest it, doesn't want to know it anymore. Now the planet's raising in frequency. So if you are holding too much dark dense energy, or don't want to go up with the planet, you are refusing, you are resisting this, you are going to leave the planet. Your body will not manage. Your body, you cannot exist in if you're lower frequency, it's frequency matches. You can't exist in a place or the planet which is a higher frequency than you. You're going to die. Your physical vessel. So this is what I said about a year ago. And people are going, plenty leaving the planet for all kinds of reasons. And people are saying it's one thing, not necessarily at all. Nope. But they will, because their physical body won't manage it. Their soul's not. They're tired. They don't want to. They whatever. Who knows? Many. It's because of the time we're living through. Many reasons. See, there's not just one. And oh my gosh, it's that. No. Mine's got nothing to do with it. They'll probably say, "Oh, look, she don't know. She didn't." If I go, I had nothing to do with that nonsense. Nothing to do with it. Mine was part of my soul's journey. No, it's not going to put on us. We take it on. That's what I'm saying. We attach. We attach to all the circumstances and the exterior, and we buy into it, like our thoughts, instead of just ignoring them. Just let that mind talk to itself. Yes, the frequency. The ringing in the ears is as new energy, as the frequency is rising, and yours is rising, if there's a change of frequency around you, your ears are picking it up. Yeah, and that will be, you're starting to see, because you're raising in frequency vibration, so maybe you're starting, your third eye is being activated, you're seeing light, you're starting to hear. This is why you're seeing and hearing those things, yeah. The veil is thinner, your consciousness is rising, you're waking up, the planet is, so you're picking up these things now. We're not in the old world anymore. Planet has changed. Frequency's changed. And this is why. And this is why I said it's time. Because of these times, many souls will leave. That's their agreements. They don't want to. They're tired. They whatever. Who knows? You know. This is like just all kinds of reasons. Depends on the soul. Many reasons. Nothing is by accident. Oh. All right, people. I'm getting a bit sleepy. So we've got to stop. We've got to chill out, really. That's it. Honestly, we've got to. Man. And start being, well, get out of the head for one. If we stay in the present moment, we will. And then they won't have any family dramas. We won't have half the shit out in the planet. If people get into the now moment and get into presence and get into contact with spirit, once they've had that, they will. This planet is going to change dramatically, and people will. You'll see it will all shift. It's just sad. We won't have any of this dysfunction on the outside if they fix themselves. Everything is about yourself. Nothing to do with the outside. The outside will completely change when we change. That's it. Simple as that. And slowly, so we've got to be understanding for those that aren't. And don't try and force it and force our idea and force and tell them anything. Like same with their religion, it's theirs, and leave it. You know, not in this lifetime, maybe they're not. You know, next lifetime when they come back, they will maybe. But you know, we've got to leave people and just. And if you're in a state of being others, it doesn't matter what anyone's doing, it doesn't bother you anyway. You're in complete acceptance and so there we are. I'm back on that. I'm trying to get back to that again. Not in the mind so much. I'm just like, and for me, I count this as a blessing because it's like a little reminder. Every now and then I get a little bit of a wobble. I'm like, ooh, right, yeah, okay. And then, exactly. Well, you shouldn't need that though to make you think, oh shit, you know what? Make the most of today. You can be outside enjoying that and doing and not, you know. We waste so much time on shit, actually. That's really, if you knew today was your last day, your diary, your day's plan will change hugely. And this is what I like. So for me, I count it as actually a blessing in a way, because it's like, okay, I know, woo, there was a wake-up call. Right. You know, and then it's like, okay, now I need, you know, and I really, and I'm thinking, okay, shouldn't be. So, Going to spend more time now in my meditation and less time and block, and to keep the mind as quiet so I can stay in that again. Centeredness, beingness. I love in that. Oh. And you're in such peace because the mind is quiet and you feel so calm. It's so much better, I tell you what. But you know, you don't realize you slip out of it very, very quietly. And before you realize that you're out of it, and you're like, oh, shit. So yeah, try not to slip out of it. All right, lovely people. I hope that helped. I'm glad if it helped anybody. That's wonderful. Then it was meant to be for you. See, there's a reason you come on. There's no accident. So as that girl said, she needed to hear it. There we are. That's probably why I was on. You see, isn't that's how Source works? It's amazing. The divine intervention is perfect. Nothing is an accident. Everything has a divine purpose. So I'm very glad I could help you, because dying is nothing to fear. And we've got to stop hanging on to that energy, because we make it unpleasant for the people dying and ourselves, everybody. And the way we do it and how and everything needs to change. It's wrong. And you know, watching all this, you're like, wow. So don't worry about the person leaving anyway, because it's freaking awesome. But we make it hard for them because everyone's around you, and they're watching and they're like, no, I'm good, everything's good, and you're like, oh. You know, at least when you've left the body, you're not stressed. You're like, oh well, you know, you don't get upset. You're just watching them, and all you have is that love peace. You don't have any of this other nonsense you have when you're in the body. The mind is, you know, when you drop into the ego is like, it's always got some, you know, ooh. All right, lovely people. Good night. Have a lovely morning, day, or evening, wherever you are, and I hope just be happy and don't fear death. Okay, really don't fear it. It's actually, you're going home. That's your real home, and you've got nothing to absolutely fear. If you want judgment, you can have it. But if you don't want it, no, you don't judge. You judge yourself. There's nothing to judge, because you're the judge and jury. Anyway. Alright, so stop being don't be an arsehole. Don't judge yourself. There we are. Stop being hard. Stop being be nice. Actually, the only advice I've learned is love yourself. Be the best. You know, we can absolutely love and treat yourself like the king. There we are. And you can't go wrong. Alright, but not like in a narcissistic way, I'm saying. But if you love and cherish yourself, you will do the same to the outside too. We are so critical and nasty, and we criticize ourselves. We harden ourselves. We judge ourselves. We shame, and this is the ego. Those are thoughts. That's the ego beating the crap out of you. It's not the real you. The real you loves you no matter what. There is no judgment. That's the real you. Alright, people. Bye.